Okay, so Jesse,
Yep.
if you want to just start by telling us a little bit about your farm and how it got started, how I guess you got started into the whole farming scene and why you're passionate about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So I was born and raised here in Warrenton, kind of a normal suburban kid. We where I live and where I grew up in Warrenton, there's like rural areas too. So we grew up like next to a farm. So I would spend times, just like sledding or walking in the woods, stuff like that. But I had no thought about farming. That wasn't, on the radar. And then went off to college, did, pre-med and religious studies. Clearly was not on the radar then either. Yeah. And then, after college, a friend sent my wife and I a book by this guy, Whiffletree, he sort of writes about agrarianism and these kinds of topics, and I found it really compelling, and I just kind of, it lit a fire in me.
Yeah.
And I kept reading more books and then visiting farmers, and it just it all kind of came together, because like growing up I had really enjoyed manual labor, like had a little lawn mowing business and stuff like that, and I always enjoyed that. I like being outside, I like doing stuff with my hands. And then learning about sort of the conventional food system and how ways in which that's not oriented towards health and in the health of the land and people and stuff like so I saw like here's a need for something where you could do some good, and it fit with my sort of like inclination to manual outside work, and then also I like the ways in which it fit well with family life. So like ways my kids are involved, and I'm like my home is my work. Those are all really compelling things for me.
And they could be outside and doing stuff with you too.
Yeah. So
and kids.
and then felt like I could do something good, and I could make a difference in where I was. And other things have turned out to be really nice about it. Like I get to be in my hometown and have a job that like I like to do, and I can make a living with my family, and that I feel really fortunate for that, because like my hometown could have been like Fairfax, and you can't do this there. Those relationships that I grew up with, and my parents and all that, or on the other side is like, I could be doing one of those jobs where you have to drive into Fairfax or whatever, and I don't have to do that. So I just, there's so many things I didn't plan out about it, but I'm grateful for it. But that's kind of like and so there's Whiffletree, this author on one hand, and then he's sort of like the poet that kind of wooed me to the life.
Right.
And then there's this farmer, Joel Saladin, who's the farmer at Polyface Farm, who's sort of the guru of this kind of sustainable animal farming.
Right. And in this area.
So he was kind of like the nuts and bolts guy, like, okay, you want to do this, here's a business plan, here's a farming model, follow these steps. And me, not growing up as a farmer, like, I think I would have felt really even more intimidated to get into the business, with never having grown up with it. But if I didn't have Joel's help, so that was a real big influence on and help in getting into it.
Yeah. Have you met him before?
Yeah. So we're acquaintances, and I think the world of him and his son Daniel. They've continued to be very gracious and generous with.
I mean, he's been a great influence.
Totally. Yeah, no, all the people like me that are, following in his footsteps are indebted to him, both for his generosity in teaching as well as in like developing the market and,
Good. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Whiffletree. How did Whiffletree start?
Yeah, so my wife and I were living in Charlottesville working. I had done a little sort of organic veggie CSA there on the side, and then he was reading these Joel Saladin books, and I wanted to sort of take the plunge and start up, just a little step by step. We wanted to come back to Warrenton, my hometown, so an opportunity came up to rent a little like 7-acre piece of land, and we came back and started just really small. So like the first batch of chickens was 50 chickens, had no idea what I was doing, and I basically had like a Joel Saladin book in one hand and just making mistakes and figuring out as I went, and just slowly building. So building, my knowledge, and a lot of times the hard way, making lots of mistakes, and then also, then as I felt more comfortable, I would, feel more comfortable raising more animals. And of course, I'm also having to like you need to sell these animals, so I need to develop a customer base. So
Yeah.
it was all like trying to get those three things in line, like
Right.
knowledge, production, and customer base. And of course, like that's a messy, project to try and do that. But
Yeah.
we went from just doing 50 meat birds, and then added laying hens and turkeys and then pigs and then beef cattle, and so that's what we do now. So
Okay.
those 5 things: so chickens, eggs, turkey, pork, beef, and that's what we raise. We sell other things from our friends that
Right.
kind of fill in the diet.
Yeah.
But that's what we raise, and and then it's myself, Jonathan Elliott, who's the VP here, and he's been here since 2015. Just does a great job and has a lot of skills that I don't have. And then we just hired on an intern from last year, Ben Fisk, so he's going to be doing deliveries for us 2 days a week, and then also helping to train and lead interns and help out with general farm operations.
Okay.
And then you met Kathy,
Yeah.
and my mom is usually here, but she's out of town, so
Okay.
they clean eggs 2 days a week and pack eggs.
Okay.
And then from May to November, when we're slaughtering chickens and turkeys, we have our poultry processing crew, and those are mostly local high school, community college students, or other adults who happen to be free on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
And
We
so-
heard a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So then there's that, and then our interns. So we generally have like 2 to 5 interns, depending on if it's a slower winter or the busier spring to fall.
Okay.
And that's who we are. Yeah.
Okay. How long have you guys been running again?
Yeah. So I started in 2009, and
wow.
and then Jonathan came on in 2015, and here we are.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys have grown a lot then.
Yeah. It's been
It's been a while.
Yeah. 10 years.
I know. It has been a while. I know.
Does it feel that long?
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like in some ways 10 years ago feels like a really long time ago, because
Yeah.
like I said, 10 years ago I had no idea what I was
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
And now like I still have a ton to learn, but I know a lot more than I did then.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does feel like a long time, but I don't know. But it went quick too. So,
Yeah.
so.
I know. I feel like that's how we're gonna feel once things really start.
Totally.
picking up.
Yeah.
It feels like January's been a long time.
Yeah.
2019 has been so long already.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the startup. Oh man, that's crazy. The hours.
It's a lot.
Oh yeah. I remember just like, it wouldn't be weird to be working like, 17, 18 hours, kind of
Yeah.
thing in a day.
Yeah.
But it's so exciting, and like you're young and it's your own thing. And
Yeah.
you believe in it, and brings in like, my wife, like, especially those startup years, she really picked up slack when I'm like working a ton trying to get things going.
Right.
And she had to pick up the slack at home, so I'm indebted. I think there's probably like lots of people like me who their path was very similar, but probably their husband or wife was like
Not as supportive.
no. I mean, this is like not just supportive. This is like radically supportive. This is like like picking up a lot of slack and being okay with it. So I'm really indebted to my wife, because it wasn't, I wasn't the only one working hard. She was picking up slack, so I'm really grateful to her that she hung with it. And now I'm trying to do a better job of like working less and
Balancing it.
Yeah, exactly, and making sure I'm being a good husband and father and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Now that you've like grown the company and been able to build more under yourself to free up your time.
And Jonathan's been so critical for that. When he came on in 2015, it was a lot different than it is now. And
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, like now that we're like not learning everything from scratch, and we've like got a lot of our infrastructure in place, and we've kind of figured out the ways to do things and the ways not to do things. So that definitely makes a difference. That's the fun thing about farming, is that there's just, and probably most things, but when you're working with a biological system, this isn't like, how do we make widgets better, where you have like, 7 different screws, and like you're working with a biological system that has its own
rules.
Orders and rules, and there's variables. Like last year we got 60 some inches of rain. So there's no, like, you can't wash, rinse, repeat on last year, because the year before it was 40 inches, and then it was a totally different, thing. So it keeps you on your toes, and there's always ways where the biological systems are so subtle and nuanced that like you have to be.
It takes time to learn it.
Observant,
yeah.
And attentive. Like you have to be really attentive to see how your pasture's doing, and see how the animals are doing, and to tweak things. And so it's fun. You can always do things better in a way that the animals are thriving better, and the land's thriving better, and the quality of life of you and everyone on the farm is better.
Right.
And, taking care of customers better. So people ask me like, so what are you gonna do next? And it's like, I don't want to raise any other animals. Like, I just want to get better and better at what we're doing here. Like taking care of our customers better.
Quality.
Raising, quality.
Yeah.
And if other people, other interns or whatever want to do like the rabbits or the dairy or whatever else, like go for it. It's all yours.
Yeah.
And let's work together and collaborate and all that. But I just more want to focus on like doing what we're doing even better, and then again like making sure I'm, being careful about not working too much and being a good father and husband and all that stuff. So. All that stuff. So
one of the things that we preach is sustainability, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why we want to use like farms and why we're so like gung-ho on